It's always a nice little present when you get that positive drift, little positive correlation with your bonds following your overall market. That's what happened here today. You had that midday pop in your overall market here, right around 1 o'clock, about a 5 day pop in your SPY. And then TLT kind of followed with it. So that's always a nice little gift that you can get. So going forward, what are we looking at here for TLT on the weekly chart? We're sitting at 84.22. First up, we're going to watch that $85 psych level. Anything outside of there, we are going to be looking at that 85.98. And then above that, we're going to be basically focusing on the $88 area. To the downside in here, obviously, right here is going to be 83.24, but we have to go all the way back to right around November of or October of 23 to find our next touch point, which is going to be all the way down here, right around those 82s and 81. So we're going to see what happens as we get closer to that $83 area and see what happens. Anything outside of those areas, though, we're going to be focusing on just basically letting the chart kind of dictate what is going to happen for us in there. We're speaking of the SPY, though, we are going to talk about SPY in here, obviously ETF of the overall markets. 742, you had that midday pop about $5 off of that 738 range in there about 1 o'clock. So we're going to see how much we do tomorrow as far as are we going to consolidate more since we're getting a little top heavy right here. Everybody kind of is taking a breather today, coming off the big hype of heading into Nvidia earnings. They beat and everybody goes, oh, okay, cool, whatever. That's kind of, it seemed like what the overall reaction of the market was off of that. So we're going to see if that changes everything going into the end of the weekend here or not. Is there going to be kind of another day where we're just kind of sit and then just kind of wait for that one just kind of quick move and then see where it happens, where it goes from there, right? So 750 is going to be our major resistance in here. It's a nice psych level, just sounds good, right? 750 SPY, right? It just feels right. So that's going to be our first resistance. Anything outside of there, we're going to let the chart kind of dictate things, but basically more or less just focus on nice whole numbers. To the downside in here, it's where it kind of gets tricky because this thing is starting to get top heavy. We want to consolidate up here, obviously, because we do need to reset all our momentum indicators, especially our RSI right here sitting at 70. So consolidation is going to be good for us. The problem is we don't want this thing to just kind of fall flat on its face. We want to just kind of stay up here for a while and then get a nice push. But to the downside in here, we're going to be looking at 738, 724, and then you have this 9-day EMA right here trading about $2 off of that 712 level. We really like the 712, but the 9-day EMA is going to hold a lot of weight as well. So kind of depending on where that 9-day EMA is going to move around to, 712 is what we're focusing on. But hey, if we can kind of get stick saved by that 9-day EMA at 715, 714, whatever, then we will take it. That's what we're going to take it because anything outside of that, and nothing's stopping us until about 695 to that 698 area. It's about a $3 channel in there. So that's what we really, really need to kind of hold overall. But again, we're going to see what happens, but just kind of keep in mind, getting a little top heavy in here. Consolidation is going to be a good thing for us. The problem is we don't want this thing to just kind of fall flat on its face, like we said, and get a sharp pullback in here. We are going to take a look at the QQQs in here. This is going to be the ETF of the NASDAQ. You can see basically kind of the same moral of the story in here. You had those highs coming in last week. That's where we have our new trend line at. Everything got adjusted here on the weekly chart, but we're focusing on that 722 high from last week. Anything outside of there, 725, 730, etc. Nice whole numbers. To the downside in here, we're looking at that 711, 696, and then obviously it's going to be coming down here right around that 675 area or wherever this 9-day EMA does end up creeping up. So it's going to be interesting to see how we close out this candle, how we overall trade on that shortened week next week. And then as we go into the last month of the quarter, how everything is going to start to kind of correlate and kind of come back in, right? So are we going to get that next push to the 750 on the SPY? Or are we kind of consolidate up here for just a little bit longer before we make that move? Or do we actually need a sharper pullback to kind of reset things and then go forward? So there's a lot of things that could happen, but we're just going to kind of wait and see and play what's giving to us in here. As far as your expected moves go, SPY, you have an IV ranking here of 34. You are looking about a $5 expected move priced in by tomorrow. Next Tuesday, about $8. You go all the way out to next week. You are looking at right around a $11 expected move being priced in. If you go out to the QQQs, your expected moves are sitting at You're basically looking at right around a $6 expected move by tomorrow's expiration, Tuesday 10. If you go all the way out to next Friday, right around a $16 expected move priced in your queue. So pretty decent sized moves in here. Large IV ranks still, even though we did get a nice overall push in here off of these. You can see this 50-day SMA on your cues. But overall, since that April timeframe, just nice push in here with our IV is still elevated. So keep that in mind, and we're going to see what type of IV collapse we may get if we do consolidate, but especially if we kind of pull back, look for that IV to really, really expand and kind of ramp up. So let's see what happens in here as we close out the week, and then as we go into a shortened week next week, and then close out this month and open up the last month of the quarter. But all in all, we're looking good in here. And hey, you know, if you can get a gift with your bonds, getting that positive drift in here today with that little pop of TLT, we will take it. But let's not kind of get used to that, because that is not really a good sign when that happens a lot. So, hey, we'll take what we can get in here, and we'll see what happens in here tomorrow. All right, guys, if you like this video, make sure to check us out on all of our social media. We also have a Discord service if you are interested, and you can find all of our socials in the description below.